Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 2 p.m. And that's Eastern Time. So I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. Been doing this for almost 20 years. Yeah, April 1st will be a mark of 20 years. We appreciate you and everything that you do to help make this show possible. You know, the show is all about you. Continue sending emails, Donna@donnasedge.com, Donna@donnasedge.com. You the boss of me. You tell me what you'd like to see, and that's what we're doing. As a matter of fact, before we get started, this actually came from one of our listeners, and well, actually several of you. That's guidelines for specific types of plant disease samples. We're going to talk about that in just a few minutes, but you can find us on television, channel 182 Charter. You can also find us syndicated on Abundance Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget the podcast on thenewscasters.com and all the social media sites there as well. Again, we appreciate you watching and listening, and the emails that you send are actually treasured. Again, thank you. Wanted to mention that I have actually visited with the Abbeville County Extension Office through Clemson University. And so I found this off of their website, and I thought this was really easy, really awesome, especially since some of you are directing me towards gardening this season. And yes, I'm an avid gardener. Absolutely love it. So let's go ahead and get started. And so I found this on clemson.edu. You can also Google it to whatever county that you would like to be part of. And that's clemson.edu, guidelines for specific types of plant disease samples. So first of all, why would you want to go ahead and get a sample of your soil? I do this all the time. Okay, we're living in Alabama, found out I had sandy soil. So it was really remarkable, the kind of a garden. If you know what type soil you have, that really does depend on the success that you do have when you do know the knowledge of the type of soil you have. Now, I'm waiting on a soil package to come in, and I think I know. It's kind of a mixture of sandy and clay. So I'm anxious to find out how I need to propagate for plants. I also need to know what kind of fertilizer I use. Is it acidic, low in acid, high in acid? Those are going to help me to have a very successful garden. And knowing what to do, the amounts of water, when you have clay soil and when you have sandy soil, it's totally different. When you have high compensation, when you have a lot of precipitation coming in on gardening season, or even when you don't, if you are in kind of as a drought-like season, you're going to know how to take care of that. Okay, let's talk about samples for specific types of plant disease. And, what's it about? What does that mean? And in almost every answer that I've been given in the past, from say, Alabama gardeners, who are the smartest people on earth, by the way, so are South Carolina gardeners. And it could be, well, you're watering it too much. You could also be not watering it enough. So let's dig in. Let's find out what that absolutely means. Now, what does it mean when you have leaf spots on your plants? Collect, and this is what you need to do if you'd like for the Extension Service to help you with that. You need to collect at least 6 to 8 leaves representing all stages of infection. Now, for plants with small leaves, you want to cut off a branch with leaves intact. That's going to help. So that way you can find out what's going on with the branch as well. So highly succulent leaves should be treated as described in the next section. Let's go ahead and talk about that. Okay, so fruits or fleshy tissues. What you want to do when you're packing, avoid packing fruit, fleshy leaves, or fleshy organs showing advanced stages of rot. Now, you want to select early stages of infection or damage. You'll want to also wipe off the excess moisture and wrap fruits individually in a dry paper and place in a paper bag. The plastic's going to make it sweat, so make sure you do the paper bag. Such samples are highly perishable, so overnight mail is recommended. So what I did for the soil test, I went on ahead and collected, and I only wanted to in one area, and that's where the garden area is. Again, we've just moved here. I don't know yet what I'm going to need to do to have a successful garden. There is an area that is fenced in, and the previous owners of this land used that because there's a lot of deer in this area. And I think it's a grand idea if you can do that. So we got the treasure of having it already done for us. So what I did, I took some of the the grass off, and I just dug down just a little bit deeper. And you want to keep as much of the upper level of that sand, because the sand and dirt has different levels. Okay, so you're going to have different levels of condensation, different levels of debris, anything that's going to be fertilizing. You want those natural fertilizers, not something you just fertilized and then send it to them. So I went on ahead and dug about 6 inches deep. And then I'll put those in bags, because I knew I was going to be taking those bags like that day. Now, if it's going to be a few days before you do, you want to put that, again, like was mentioned just a few minutes ago, in some type of not a plastic bag at all, but some kind of a paper bag. Okay, now, again, we just talked about fruits or fleshy tissues. If you're just wondering what's going on with that, you want to go to, and by the way, your cooperative extension is an awesome place. They're your spot. They know their area. And all these folks have been highly trained in what to do, what kinds of answers to give you. And by the way, this is being sent off to Clemson University. Now, let's talk about stem lesions. Let's say you have the lesions are on your stems. Diebacks, cankers, and then sometimes galls can be on the stems. So you want to select the branches with active lesions and young galls. So you cut the branches to include the infected area and a healthy portion of the same branch, if at all possible. Completely dead branches and twigs are generally undesirable for diagnostics. They can be included along with more recent declining ones, just to show a range of symptoms. That way at Clemson University or Auburn University, wherever you're watching in your whatever state you live in, then you'll be able to see from your area what can actually cause that. And the reason you do that is because South Carolina and Alabama is going to be a lot the same, because we have like 2 seasons, and that's about it. We have cold winter seasons. It's extremely cold. Then we have hot summer. I prefer the hot summer. But anyway, if we're going up north, well, then your weather's going to be totally different up there. So you won't have the same answer, say in New York, that you would have here in South Carolina. Now let's talk about turf grass samples if you were to send those into the cooperative extension. And cut back the blocks of the sod, that's going to be the grass with the roots and the soil attached, of at least 6 by 6 inches to include the margin between affected and the healthy areas. You want to place it in a sturdy plastic bag and press to release the trapped air. You know what? We talk about that in canning. When you're putting stuff in the freezer, you want to get rid of the air, because the air can mean different reasons. I mean, it could be a totally different diagnostic answer if the air is in the bag. Okay, let's talk about plants exhibiting maybe wilting, maybe they're yellowing, and just a general decline. Okay, you want to submit the entire plant if possible. Now, if they are container growth, well, then submit several affected plants in their pots if possible. Now, if they're field grown, you want to carefully dig them up and place soil-covered roots in one plastic bag, and then tie it at the trunk. Now don't tie it really, really tight. Tie it where it's snug, but not tight, okay? Because they've got to be able to read that branch and understand what's happening there. Okay, now, and also you want to tie it at the trunk and then put another bag over the top, okay? And just, they can be loosely fit. Okay, now include a handful of fine feeder roots plus a few larger ones of at least 1/4 inch in diameter. Place the roots in a separate plastic bag with a small amount of the moist soil. Okay, you want to keep the growth going there. Okay, you want to keep it alive. Make sure that the roots submitted are from the plant itself, not from weeds. You don't want to include weeds, grass, or ground covers below that affected plant. Okay, now let's talk about this. Let's talk about viral symptoms. Mosaic patterns that could be like ring spots. Distorted new growth are common symptoms of a virus disease. Only a few viruses can be identified through the PPCD, but samples can be sent from the clinic to a commercial lab at an additional cost if that's desired. Now, send viral assay samples by overnight delivery. Okay, that's got to be sent like ASAP. Okay, how about nematodes? We talked all about that during the Master Gardener's class. Now, if nematode problems are suspected, then soil from the sample can often be used to test for those microscopic round worms, but an additional fee will be required. Now, if they suspect nematodes, clients will be notified and asked about testing. Now, if an agent suspects nematodes, clients should be encouraged to submit nematode assay samples. So what you'll do is collect a pint of soil from the advancing margin of decline and enclose in a nematode bag or a small plastic bag. Do not allow the soil to dry out or become overheated during the shipping. Now, it's helpful when clinic and nematode samples are submitted separately that this information be provided on the diagnostic sample submission form. You'll be able to download that, print it off, and then fill it out. Now, if more than one sample is submitted, be sure to label the bags and provide these field IDs on the form as well. Nematode assay results will be sent by NAL lab personnel. Absolutely. So those are some things that you can do. You know that you can also have your water tested, and that's irrigation water testing. So let me talk about that, and then we'll go into a commercial break. So if you would like for the Extension Service to test that, irrigation water can be tested where the problem could be suspected. So growers like to check the plant nutrient content of the water or pinpoint a specific element which may be causing toxicity problem due to excessive levels can also benefit from an irrigation water analysis. Now, this service is not intended for assessing water for drinking purposes. Drinking water samples need to be taken to your nearest DHEC office. Our lab, it says Clemson University. Our lab does not accept international samples for analysis. Let's go ahead and cut into a commercial break. We shall return in just a few seconds, so y'all hang in there, okay? Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring. But the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer
yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
Donna's Designs offers a line of handmade memorial, wedding, and keepsake jewelry that launched back in 1970. I'm a self-trained jewelry designer, and I will work closely with you to create unique designs you can love and treasure for years to come. Whether that be flowers that were used in a funeral arrangement or stones you found on the beach at a memorable trip, call me at 256-659-4319 and let's think of the possibilities.
At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender. Okay, we are back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 2 p.m. That's Eastern time, as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. You know, if you're going to get in trouble with your boss, I don't want that to happen. You can also watch us on YouTube and Facebook.com/D Feazell anytime you'd like to watch. And it's all up to you, whatever fits with your time schedule. Just wanted to mention that I love the county extension office. Was received very well with Abbeville County, located in South Carolina. And so I wanted to do a soil sample. We're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. And why is it so necessary to have a soil sample done? It's very necessary because different types of soil are going to be different in how they respect your plants. Think about those big old tomato plants. You're going to have some tomato sandwiches coming up, and you've got to have the right kind of soil. If you don't have the right kind of soil, or if you don't know how to amend your soil, you're going to be in a world of hurt. Now, a lot of folks, because they just don't want to dig in the ground, have the above ground raised gardens. And I think that's an absolute awesome thing to do. Now, I'm lucking out here because the folks who own the land we just bought, our little homestead right here in South Carolina, and they had a fenced-in garden, which is absolutely fabulous. So I dug up some of the dirt, and I'm seeing that they tended to it. They took really good care of it, but still, I want to know what type soil this is. So here's how you take a soil sample. Okay, to have a soil analysis, you need to take 8 to 10 or more core samples, which will be combined in one composite sample. I chose not to do that. I only wanted the garden area right now. I'll go back later if it's a different part of the yard, because I'm sure this garden area has been amended. I mean, I can tell just from, because I'm just telling you, you just pull up the grass, the weeds there, and it's that simple. So I know it's been taken well care of, but I still need to know. Okay, now, what you can do is the composite samples should include the soil from the surface of a depth from about 6 inches in all areas, except for lawns where core samples should be taken from a depth of only 2 to 4 inches. Simple garden trowel can be used to collect the core samples. So this is what I did. I went on ahead and just like I mentioned at the first part of the show, this segment, I went on ahead and took some of the grassing away because I wanted only soil to be tested. Now, when you are taking good care of your gardening, okay, and you've maybe put fertilizer on it, you've put different types of manure, whatever, it's going to amend the soil a bit, okay? So that's why they ask you to do 8 to 10 inches collect, which will be taken. Okay, now let's talk a little bit more about landscape professionals, okay, may use a soil probe to collect their soil core samples, which could create a little bit of damage to the lawn. Now, once you have the samples, what you want to do is place those core samples in a clean plastic bucket and mix them thoroughly, okay, to keep the sampling separate from areas that have been fertilized or limed differently, such as your lawns, your shrub beds, and vegetable gardens. They should be submitted in a separate composite sample. So in other words, let's say I'm going to the back where we have the fenced-in garden. And so I took a lot of soil there, and I put that in a bag, and I labeled it, by the way, and I did put that it was in the garden, and the garden that had the fence around it. That's for me to understand as well. Now, let's just say and it's almost like an acre of fenced in. So this is like prime. I'm loving it. I can't wait to get started with the gardening. Okay, but let's just say I wanted to plant a tree in the front yard. Okay, that is going to be totally different than the garden area. It just will, because I'm pretty sure it's been tested. It's had probably manure and stuff put on it. It's had fertilizer put on it. Probably different from a front yard where maybe I wanted to plant, say, a silver maple tree. We'll just use a silver maple tree, for example. So if I decided I wanted to do that in the front yard, I'll need to take an all new soil sample, because again, it's going to be totally different when they give me the dialysis of that. Okay. Now, let's see. How many samples do you need to take? Yeah, it's really going to depend on what you want. Okay, so I did about 2 cups, about a quart. So you need to dig and have a tested composite sample of each section of your yard or garden. Usually this means, for example, 1 composite sample in your turf area, 1 in the foundation of the perennial bed, maybe 1 in the vegetable garden. If you have a problem area where plants or turf are just not growing too well, take a separate soil composite sample there. And again, make sure you label it. Use good bags. Those are going to be torn easily. Make sure you bring at least 2 cups of soil for testing per area. They need plenty to work with. Now, for soilless medium mixes, you want 1 quart of material, and that should be submitted. Now, sampling frequency. How often should I do this? Okay, the Clemson University Extension Service recommends soiling every year, especially in a gardening area, because I'm going to be putting, we've got like pine straw all over the place here. That's another gift that we got when we bought this place. So underneath that, I'm talking several inches. In some areas, there are about 6 inches of this awesome pine straw that's out there. Well, if I were to take a soil sample there, it's going to be totally different than the gardening area. You know why? Easy. Because all that wonderful, luscious pine straw has been sitting there for at least a year. It's been decomposing. It's making all this wonderful, wonderful soil right here. I'm not even going to have to buy anything here. I mean, it's all here on this land. Another thing I want you to think about too is strawberries. Okay, so I'm looking for strawberries. If anybody can tell me where I can buy some strawberry plants, I've not been able to find any at Lowe's and I went to actually a garden center. I didn't see any there as well. So what is strawberries? It thrives off of straw, pine straw especially. I'm just telling you, in an area that I was living in Alabama, it was very sandy soil. There was a lot of rocks. We could have had a rock waterfall if we'd wanted to, because almost every single time Phil dug holes for our fruit trees, he was digging up rocks. I'm talking like massive rocks. And he would think he had it. He would start digging. He would say, I finally got a hole. And then he'd do this. And it was like, oh, man. And I would hear a rock. And I'd say, oh, man. So you got to know your area. Okay. Again, rocks. So you got to get those things out if you possibly can. But do know the area. Okay, timing of the sampling. Now, soil samples can be taken any time of the year, but it's best to sample the soil a couple of months before planting a garden, establishing perennials, or before the optimum time for fertilizing lawns to allow ample time for the lime to react to the soil. So I used a lot of lime on the sandy soil that I had. And that's why I had a successful garden. But I was told by the extension, and Brian Brown was a good friend of mine. He is with the county extension, and he did all of the training when I was taking the Master Gardeners programming in Alabama. And he was just huge on helping us. And by the way, when you go, show interest. Okay, don't just throw your soil samples out there. Ask a few questions, because the more questions you ask, I'm talking good questions, the more questions you ask, the more interest you're showing. And these folks who work there, I mean, they all have the degrees in agriculture, and they're there. That's what they're there for. They're there to help you. So, okay, now right here in South Carolina, if you would like to have help with your soil samples results, the South Carolina residents can contact Clemson's Home and Garden Information Center. It's the HGIC for assistance with their soil samples results. You can email them, or you can give them a call at 656-9988. Now, wherever you live, whatever county you live in, the whole United States, you've got an extension service in your county. So make sure that you check that out. Let's talk about IDing if you want to ID an insect. Okay, I've seen some creepy crawlers I've never seen before. So Clemson is working with the Plant and Pest Diagnostic Clinic. Now, this is the PPDC to identify insect of plants, and these are found in and around structures and properly submitted parasites. Now, once the insects are identified, crop, commodity, or other specialists will provide management recommendations. I want to know about rats and about roaches, stuff like that. I haven't seen any here, but get ready. Okay, when you start putting chickens out there and there's corn, you're going to attract rats. This procedure adds some time to the reporting process. Now, if the client includes their email address, and by the way, on the soil sample, make sure you have all of your information on that. You want to put soil came from the garden area. I also put my address on there. I put my name, my telephone number, how they can get in contact with me. Make sure they can get in contact with you when they get the results. And they'll help you fill out a form as well, so that'll all be taken care of. Now, the identification will be sent, and include the email address especially, as a preliminary report, and the specialist report will follow. Otherwise, reports will be mailed upon completion. Now, there is a particular form that you can download. As a matter of fact, I've got it right here. I could click it and let you see it, but you can do that on your own, because whatever county you live in, then you'll be able to pull up your specific form. Okay, now due to sample quality, biosecurity, and health issues, insects submitted to the clinic should be killed before submission. Don't send a live bug out there. Most insect samples can be placed in a vial or other container filled with alcohol. Now, either ethanol or like your regular rubbing alcohol, 70% solution can be used. Now, ethanol is a better preservative, but isn't as readily available for this use. Now, the preservatives allow the insect to be relaxed as they're being killed, ensuring that they reach the clinic in a good condition. Be sure to fill the vial to the top to prevent specimen damage due to sloshing, because if you slosh it around, you're going to get a different reading. Do not use water or any liquid. Insects placed in hazardous preservatives such as formaldehyde will not be accepted. Now, got a little bit over a minute left. So using alcohol is especially important when human parasites such as your fleas, your ticks, or your lice are submitted. Now, as blood from the person is considered a biohazard. Now, in addition, if clothing, air filters, or such articles were to be submitted, the person performing the identification could be infested. So, for this reason, human or animal pest will only be accepted by the PPDC in small vials filled with alcohol. If a client suspects human parasites are present but finds no actual insects, he or she should visit a dermatologist, and if insects are found, they can be submitted as described above. Now, if the person brings an unpreserved insect to the county office, these should be placed in a small vial of alcohol as well for submission. Now, the results, depending on the sample load at the time, preliminary results can be expected in 10 to 7 days following the sample receipt of the clinic. That's when it reaches there, not when you take it to the other office. Now, during cooler seasons, replies sometimes come more quickly. All replies are sent via email to clients and can also be affiliated with the county extension office. Now, agents included on the form will also receive a copy if the client has no email address or report is mailed, even if an agent is also receiving the report via the email. Thank you so much for watching Donna's Edge Talk Show. I hope this was some help. Now, your county could be just a little bit different from my county, so go ahead and get in contact with them and find out what you need to do. Generally speaking, they're going to include you to a university, such as in Alabama. DeKalb County, Alabama, was going through Auburn University, and right here in the county I'm in goes to Clemson University. Again, thank you. Many thanks. And I definitely appreciate you continue sending the emails. I love them. Donna@donnasedge.com. I'll see you next time.